welcome to this special show. ETNOW and Schneider present Making Cities Future Ready, where we focus on smart cities. What does a smart city actually mean? The new government has spoken about 100 smart cities at a cost of 7,000 crore rupees. But how do we implement that as a ground reality? As we all know, today's cities are a casebook for chaos, and the greenfield cities of the future, will they actually be able to adopt a different route? To discuss all of that and more, I'm joined by an eminent lineup of panelists. Let me introduce them to you. Mr. S.S. Bajaj, Vice Chairman, Naya Raipur Development Authority. Professor K.T. Ravindran, President, Institute of Urban Designers, India. Saleen Kumar, CEO and MD, DMIC, DHC. Prakash Chandrekar, Vice President and MD, Energy Business, Schneider Electric. And joining us from our Mumbai studios is Sanjay Sethi, Additional Metropolitan Commissioner, MMRDA and MD, MMRC. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us on the show. Saleen Kumar, tell us, what exactly does a smart city actually mean?
So first of all, let me talk a little bit about the issues and challenges which bring us to this concept, so that we put it in proper perspective. See, the issue in India is that we have 58% of our population contributing only 14.2% to our GDP. And this is unsustainable. And ultimately, technology will have to be infused in agriculture, and the surplus labor will eventually leave the agricultural areas, rural areas, and migrate to the urban areas and the cities.
Right.
Even as we speak in India, about 30 people per minute are migrating from the rural areas to the urban areas. This is the scale of the problem. About 350 million people are going to migrate to urban India by 2030.
We have to create those smart cities. Then Professor Ravindran, if you look at smart cities today, and I was looking at some of the broad definitions, a smart city means efficient, livable, sustainable, just to name some of the qualities. And these are clearly not qualities that we see in our current day cities. So how would you really define it in our current context? What can we actually achieve to become a smart city in the future?
There are multiple types of cities, and if you talk about the existing cities in India, there are every type of conceivable cities are there, and within that city there is a very diverse profile of population, and there are diverse lifestyles, diverse demands on the city, and it's a very complex organization if you look at it from the existing city perspective.
Right.
Governance in cities is, in the existing cities, is one of the first things that can be brought into the smart fold.
Right.
If governance is brought into the smart fold, then you have a completely revved up quality of life, new quality of life emerging.
But let me speak to somebody who's actually connecting the dots, and what you've started with Naya Raipur and what you've achieved actually so far. Take us through what has been your experience, because yours is seen as a smart city, which you have managed to achieve some of those tick in the boxes.
Yeah, actually we first digitized the whole cadastral map and did all kind of technical planning along with your satellite imageries, so that each of the plots or each of the houses can be identified through the technology. That was the first step. The second step, we planned the whole city with IT backbone infrastructure. For example, we had the LED lighting system, which can be controlled through the computer. We can dim the lights, we can switch off the light, alternate switching off, switching on the light. Our electric infrastructure is all underground. We have the indoor substations, we have a ring main, so any fault can be detected by using the IT components.
So essentially, you've had the luxury, so to speak, or at least the challenge of having setting up a greenfield city, and you've used a lot of technology to do that. But let me speak to Sanjay Sethi and let me bring him in, because Sanjay, what about existing cities? And for instance, a city like Mumbai, when we talk about smart city, how do you apply some of those concepts that we've heard amongst our guests today in really changing the way a city like Mumbai functions, for instance?
Essentially, when we're talking about brownfield cities, what we are saying is that there is an existing infrastructure which cannot take the burden of the increasing growth of population. So what we have to do is we have to get more out of the same existing infrastructure, because there are clear constraints on increasing the infrastructure. And when you see a brownfield, it means that all those infrastructural gaps, the institutional voids, and the aspirations of the existing cities have to integrate together to define what exactly do you want from a smart city.
Okay, so clearly, a different set of challenges when it comes to brownfield cities, but one common theme that we are hearing time and time again is the use of technology. So Prakash, tell me, how does technology make a city smart?
A city is comprising of many subsystems, and today, because of rapid urbanization, every systems are getting challenged for the efficiency. We have a different subsystems like electrical, water, transportation system, gas management system, public services. Unfortunately, today each subsystems are operating like verticals in silos, and hence we don't get the efficiency. As a part of a smart city drives, the technology can be used to create a common interface platform or common city platform where we can acquire data from the different verticals and create a city platform where integrated management of the city is possible. Take example for electrical verticals, we can create a smart grid under electrical vertical where the grid can operate on the self-healing basis. In case of fault, it is possible the grid can automatically isolate the system and then feed the distribution through the healthy line. In case of a smart grid, you can have very fast load shedding. So in case if you lose high generation, you can also shed the load and you can balance the grid, and that can help. Second solution can be the demand response. Right. In case of normal generation, if it is not available, you can go for demand response, which can balance the supply as well as the load, and that will help in terms of technology to manage the grid. In the same way, we can do very efficient management of the water or integrated management of transportation system. So this is how the technology can help us to really bring efficiency in the overall integrated city platform.
Professor Ravindra, one of the issues I mentioned was sustainability, because the rate at which we are growing and our kind of numbers here in India, how do you really create sustainability and at the same time create future smart cities?
See, the biggest advantage of applying new technologies is that it can manage with greater efficiency the existing resources. The construction field and city building and all are huge guzzlers of all sorts of resources, whether it's energy, whether it's water, whether it's natural resources, it's land, which is a primary resource like land. If all these are brought into technology-driven control measures, then we can maximize the use of those. That itself is the first move towards sustainability, because then you eliminate waste and then you maximize the use of the existing resources that you have. So sustainability is the primary issue that is addressed by what you call smartness.
How big of a challenge has it been for you on the ground to actually build in some of these ethos?
Yeah, actually, when we started planning and implementing the project, we found that the new city has to have the social infrastructure also. And to put in the social infrastructure, we need people to live in Naya Raipur. So it's a great challenge how to attract the people to Naya Raipur, how to create the economic activities so that people come and work in Naya Raipur. So first people who have moved into is the government. All the government offices, all the services, all the para services which have moved into Naya Raipur. Now we need the economic base to be generated in Naya Raipur so that other people can also move into Naya Raipur.
Okay, let's take a quick break on that note, because here we saw some of the seeds being sown in terms of building those new future smart cities. But once you build those cities, if people aren't willing to come in, if you're not able to create that ecosystem, then really how do you take that concept of smart cities forward? We'll discuss all of that and more. You're watching this special show on ETNOW. watching this special presentation on ETNOW, where we're discussing how to make our cities future ready, the existing ones as well as the ones of the future. Well, let's talk about some of those greenfield projects, and let me turn to Talin Kumar, who has in fact quite a bit on his plate as he is in charge of the DMIC project. Talin, here you have to put it on the ground.
DMIC project is essentially about creating greenfield cities as opposed to brownfield cities. So challenges are different, the approach is also different. What we are doing here is we are engaging some of the world's best master planners to plan a city. So you talked about sustainability earlier. Sustainability in DMIC-DC begins from the master planning stage itself.
And you've got a lot of players, including state governments,
so
the local people.
The stakeholders are, large number of stakeholders. The state government itself, the local people, the local municipalities, all the state government departments, they are all stakeholders in our project. So when we do the master planning, we are very careful about embedding the sustainability concepts into the master plan. For example, the issues about water, issues about carbon footprint, issues about transit-oriented development. How do we embed these concepts into the master plan, which will take us, for the next 30 years when the city gets built, and beyond 30 years for next 50 to 100 years.
Seti, let me talk about some of the challenges that you're facing and share those with us, because ultimately it's all about convincing people on the ground, whether it is in Talin's case of convincing them to actually come in and adopt these new cities, or in your case trying to convince them to really change the way things were done and to adopt and also pay for some of these new services. How do you do that?
I think what I would like to share is this small experiment that we have taken up in one part of Mumbai, that is the Bandra Kurla complex. Bandra Kurla complex is the premier business district of Mumbai city. So what we've tried to initiate is that we've picked up some components of the smart city, which include the Wi-Fi, the smart parking, the video surveillance, intelligent street lighting, and citizen apps. So when you say whether the people are ready to be a part of it, I think people are more than ready to be a part of it, mainly because when we treat this part of Mumbai as a separate district, then all the stakeholders, which means that it's basically the engine is business here, and all the businesses stand to really benefit from all these components, which are mainly ICT based components of smart city. But apart from that, when we say from the street lighting, we could actually start it on solar power, and then we actually put it into the grid, which in turn is going to help you in terms of energy. Everybody seems to be very excited about the idea, and when we say that, it means that we have the private sector which is ready to participate, but MMRD as an agency, because MMRD is the planning authority for this part of Mumbai, whereby we are saying that public-private partnership is the real way to go ahead. So I think in terms of response, we have a huge response there.
So Prakash, you've executed several smart city projects across cities in the world. Take us through what have been the learnings there.
So cities are comprising of many subsystems, many verticals like water, transportation, electrical. The challenge is every vertical has its own vision, and this is where the biggest challenge comes when we talk about a smart city. Schneider Electric addresses the full value chain of a smart city. It can be electrical vertical, or it can be water, gas, transportation, public services. So almost we address every domain when it comes to OT, operation technology, and integrating this with information technology. Apart from that, we offer hardwares for all this system. Our global experience is all these verticals, all the stakeholders need to have a common platform where they should have a shared vision, and the vision extends to the economy. As Professor Ravindran said, the economy is very, very important. So this stakeholder must agree how the return is going to happen when you provide the services, what kind of the tariff is going to be imposed for the kind of services you are going to provide. Let's say electrical vertical today do not guarantee 24/7. In a smart city, possibly you guarantee 24/7. Now, what is the premium for that, and what is the affordability? So that's one. One is the first is the shared vision. Second is the planning and organization, which is very, very important. As Mr. Talin Kumar said, we are spending a lot of time in planning. Now, this is very important phase from where the fund is going to come. What is going to be the different milestones, what is going to be the roadmap, what are the KPIs going to be for each of the verticals. So that's very, very important to define in planned way. Now, there is another challenge is in today's city in brownfield, if you see, we never plan the underground.
Yeah.
We just have a city and then we are digging the entire city to create infrastructure underground. Now that's the difference we need to bring when we are creating a smart city, to plan first under the ground and then over the ground. Now under the ground, what is going to be the sewage system requirement, electricity, water, pipeline. Similarly on over the ground transportation. Last one is, the deployment, which is very, very important, is I will say walk the talk and walk the walk. In the sense, you must make sure that all the collaboration what we talked during the vision, the team who were part of that actually collaborates and does effective deployment. With smart city solutions from Schneider Electric, you can save up to 30% in energy, 20% in water leakage, and 15% in travel time. That's how Schneider Electric can help to make cities smarter.
Take a step back and just make the point that smart cities are ultimately about enhancing the quality of life.
Yes.
If that doesn't get done, then probably it is not a smart city in any
let's
case.
take a break on that note, because enhancing the quality of life, that's what all of us are interested in. How will it really impact and change the quality of our lives as we look towards the cities of the future? We'll answer those questions and more. Stay with us. Right, future cities, what do they hold really? How will they impact the quality of our lives? Let me turn to Sanjay Sethi. And Sanjay, we were just discussing the importance of urban design. What's the vision as far as the city of Mumbai is concerned to really try and integrate some of the elements and changes that you are proposing?
Two things I would like to say. When we say how do these initiatives impact our lives or contribute to the quality of life, then probably we have to look at it as an integration of what all is it striving to give you. When we say efficient delivery of services, it means that whether you can get your water better or your power or your waste is disposed better, you are paying lesser for that, you are spending lesser time doing that, or when you're saying I am safer or my safety and security improves when I have ICT based applications like video surveillance and analytics, or at the end of the day, if I'm saying I have contributed to the environmental development of my city, or it's a greener space at the end. I think all these contribute to improving the quality of life.
Let me now take a step back from existing cities, and Mr. Bajaj, when it comes to New Raipur, for instance, cities are not just like factories or dollhouses. You just set things up and then automatically everything. There is a fabric to it. There is a feeling. There is the whole heart of the city, so to speak. How do you incorporate that once you've got the bijli, pani, everything running? Put the heart in it.
Yeah, actually, what Mr. Sethi says is very correct, that you have to integrate the social network to the city life. We have actually the city, before the city is to be smart, the people of the city has to be smart. So unless we create a kind of environment for the citizen so that it is, all the information is accessible to them, the transport system is there, the public transport system is there, there is a common mobility card, the person can travel from one mode of transport to other mode of transport. There is a pedestrian walkways, a cycle track.
How are you, for instance, selling New Raipur to the existing citizens of, say, the older Raipur?
Right, what we are doing is, See, before making the city as a vibrant city, we are saying that city is going to be environmental friendly city, is going to be a citizens friendly city. You will have all the feature of the smart city, where the security is the first concern. You will have a web cameras all over the city which can look
So
towards.
would it be fair to say you're using infrastructure, better infrastructure as a key sort of incentivizer for people to move in?
Yeah, very true. Not only the social infrastructure or physical infrastructure, but also the economic infrastructure. We are trying to call all the IT companies to Naya Raipur, so that also the job opportunities are there in Naya Raipur.
Right. In fact, Khalid, if I may bring you in here. Yeah.
Yeah, there are two parts to a city if you look at it carefully. One is the part of the city where it is internal, talk about internal aspects of a city, where trunk infrastructure comes in, social infrastructure comes in, and how you connect them through a ICT technology and use it to leapfrog and connect all the verticals. That is one part. The other part is the external connectivity for that city. To my mind, transport connectivity is the key for a city to take off, especially greenfield cities. So we are very conscious of this, and we have mass rapid transit systems designed in case of certain greenfield cities. So what I'm trying to make the point here is that when you go and say that to a person and you have an outreach program, what do you tell him? I think you tell him about the external connectivity to the city, how easy it is to get there. Because if it is not easy enough for me to get there, probably I'll not like to go there, especially if it is a greenfield city. And what is the internal infrastructure that you bring, social and physical, with mixed land use? And every, let's say, 5 or 10 square kilometers should be a micro city by itself.
Right.
If you are able to do that, where people are able to walk across to the place of work, they don't have to travel a lot. Can you plan for that? So those are the things that are important.
Absolutely. So here we're talking about really, the feeling of being in a city, but Prakash, we need to come down to the nuts and bolts. And ultimately, what we don't have in today's city is the infrastructure element. And we still have huge back-end problems when it comes to supply of power and so on and so forth, supply of water, the transportation system. So do you really see technology being fundamentally able to address and enable us to have access to those basic requirements which we are missing today?
I will say to a large extent, yes. Some extent where there is more collaboration and coordination required. Just to share with you, when we talk about the brownfield, which we talked about existing city, now how do we make it smart? So the step one can be to embed those sensors, which the step two can be create acquisition system where you acquire those data. Step 3 is to create a communication backbone, and step 4 is create a city control center. So if we can get the data from most of this infrastructure, the city control center can help us to really cutting across all the vertical and make this operation much more efficient.
Right.
So this is how I think we can address the challenge of a brownfield. For greenfield, as Mr. Talin Kumar has already said, I think the planning, what is being done is already part of the process of integrating, let's say, transportation system, which can be metro, with the road transport. Road transport can be further integrated with the traffic management system. So this complete system can be integrated. Now the biggest challenge what we are going to face is how are we going to source it, because while talking it is simple, but there will be no single party who is going to supply entire system.
Yes.
So there will be collaboration required, not only between stakeholders, but between various IT supplier, OT supplier, hardware suppliers. So this is where I think the stakeholder has to play a very important role.
You need a CEO for each one of these smart cities to really keep them running. That brings us to the end of this special show. ETNOW and Schneider present Making Cities Future Ready. As you can see, there's a lot of effort underway, both to put up new smart cities of the future and also to try and change and improve the quality of our current cities. Let's hope that those efforts finally bear fruit so that you and me can really enjoy a better quality of life. With that, thanks for watching this special presentation only on ETNOW.